Hey, it's HighTechDad, and today I'm driving the 2015.5 Volvo V60 T6, and this is the R Design version. And there are two words that mean a lot to Volvo, mean a lot to me, and that's performance and safety. Obviously, safety is what Volvo pretty much set themselves up with and rode on for years and years and years. And this car reflects all of that. I do want to throw in the comfort word as well, because I really enjoy driving this car. The seats, particularly because of the R design and the sport leather seats, are really comfortable. So just some quick high-level points about this car in terms of performance. So this is a 3.0 liter twin turbo. The turbo is quick. It kicks in with barely any perceived lag. You can really get off the line fast, especially if you put it into sport mode, which doesn't mean that you have to use the paddle shifters. Yes, there are paddle shifters, but you put it on there, the revs are higher, they stay higher as well, and you get a lot of peppiness out of the engine. So the engine puts out 325 horsepower at about 5,400 RPMs. It's got 354 pounds of torque. It's got a 6-speed Geartronic automatic transmission with, like I said, the quick shift paddle shifters. It's an all-wheel drive vehicle, which is nice to have if you're in the rain or the snow, so that you always have that stability. And it gets fairly decent gas mileage for an engine this big, about 19 city, 28 highway, and 22 combined mileage. I'm averaging right now, as I look at my dashboard, 29.7 miles to the gallon. So that's a mixture of city driving and freeway driving, so it seems right on the mark. In terms of the R design, there's, like I said, the leather seats with lots of controls. They really hug you as you're going into turns and really sort of wrap around your torso. It's got a sport chassis, sport steering. You can actually adjust the steering in different modes. I sort of leave it in the medium. It's got leather steering wheel, leather shifter, that type of thing. In terms of safety, again, this is something that Volvo's really always rides high on, and this vehicle is no different. I mean, this has got obviously ABS with ready alert braking, so the brakes are like ready to go. Especially if you're driving in the city, there's an option that you can enable that prevents low-speed collisions. So it'll actually start applying brakes almost faster than you can. It's got curtain head impact airbags. It's got dual chamber side impact airbags. There's whiplash protection with these specially designed headrests. It's got the dual stage headrest. It's got child tethers, all the required things. But again, Volvo is always on the mark with their safety features. So let's take a look at some of the other features of this vehicle and some of the tech, and let you know what I think. So the 2015.5 Volvo V60 T6 R Design is a sporty wagon. You can see obviously it's 4 doors. It's got the hatchback here. There's no outward branding for the R Design, but that adds a bunch of different features to this vehicle, which makes it a heck of a lot of fun to drive. It, as I mentioned, it has 325 horsepower. It's a 3.0 liter twin turbo 6-cylinder, and it puts out about 354 pounds of torque at 300 RPM. So one of the R Design features is the 18-inch alloy wheels with all-season tires. You can see these actually, I believe, have summer tires on them. They're pretty low profile. So you can see with the hatch up, it's fairly roomy. You can really load it up on luggage. You can fold down the rear seats, either partially or fully. It doesn't have a spare tire. Instead, underneath, probably to save on weight and a bunch of other things, it's got one of these inflatable flat repairs. The rear seats are fairly roomy. You can seat 3 fairly comfortably. They've got really high headrests, and it's got an interesting feature to fold down the headrest, which actually freaked out one of my kids when I pushed the button. I can show you where that button is. Legroom's pretty good. I have the seats fairly far back, but it's enough to seat comfortably. So this is probably the only place where you actually see the R Design branding and anywhere on the car. So I popped the hood. So one thing you have to know is that the little latch is actually off to the side here. Once you find it, it's pretty easy. Opens right up. Fairly large T6 engine. Like I said, it's a 3.0 liter twin turbo. Turbo kicks in pretty quick when you step on the pedal. There isn't any perceivable lag, and it is quick off the line. Another thing about the R Design is the sport leather seats. They really hug your body well. I found these seats to be really comfortable. There are a lot of different controls that you can do to get those adjustments in, as well as 3 memory settings, which also are tied to the mirrors. Once you dial in the mirrors using the controls, you can program that in with your seat settings. So some of the safeties, it does have daytime running lights, and also it has pivoting headlights here, the xenon headlights here that you can see. These actually turn into the direction that you're turning, as well as there's some side lights that turn on when the car senses that you're turning left or right. Another thing that's part of the R Design are the polished tail pipes here, the chrome that you can see, and also you can see sensors that are in the bumper here, and this helps with parking assist. This particular model does not have a rear view camera, but it does have the parking assist with these sensors that you see. It does have a push button start. You can put your keyless key fob in here if you want, or leave it in your pocket. You just fire it up by pushing on the button there. It tells you on the display if all your passengers have their seatbelts on or not, or even when you're driving, it'll pop up if someone takes off their seatbelts. So I averaged about 21 miles to the gallon thus far. It has a rating of 19 in city and 28 on highway, with an average of like 22 miles to the gallon, which is fairly decent for a car that's pretty sporty like this. Here's another place where you see the R Design branding on the steering wheel. The steering wheel is fairly nicely set up. You have your cruise control on one side, and you have your voice commands. Obviously, if you pair your Bluetooth handset, you can do voice commands that way. You can stream audio, you can obviously answer phone calls. You have your volume control, and again, this is sort of a complaint that I have to a bunch of manufacturers, is why put the volume controls here when they're also right here? I would prefer to have it on the other side than the left side, so if my right hand has something in it, I could still use my left hand to do it, or if I have something in my right hand, I could use the volume control, actually vice versa that way. But it still works for me. You can see the paddle shifters are mounted to the steering wheel directly behind. And one other little complaint that I had is I found that the paddle shifters are really close to like the turn indicators or the washing window washers in the back. It's a little close, so I kept bumping my hands against it, but you get used to it over time. One thing that my kids and I kind of like about it is actually having this almost phone keypad here if you want to dial numbers, but you can also use voice control for a lot of that stuff. So this may, I would have a feeling, go away in the future, but still the controls are easy to use. You have your sound and volume, you have the main menu over here for letting you dial through things on the top. So like my Volvo, you can see trip statistics, you can see a bunch of other things, including an owner's manual, which you can only see when the car is in park or not moving. They don't want you being distracted. So that's a big thing about Volvo, is safety, and this car is full of safety features, including tons of different types of airbags and crash control systems and child restraints and that sort of thing. Volvo always has a reputation of being an extremely safe car, and you feel it. The car feels solid when you drive, and you feel really safe in it. So this is a 6-speed Geartronic automatic transmission. You can go into regular drive mode, and then something nice that I didn't realize until later is once you do shift down into drive, you can pop the drive controller, the gear, over to the side, and you go into sport mode. But that doesn't mean that you have to do manual shifting. It does, however, make the car a lot peppier. Red line's a little higher, the shifting a little bit closer together, so you get a good little boost when you go into that mode. So it has dual climate controls, including auto climate control. One thing that I love is that they have this sort of icon of the body here. So if you want air going to your head, you just push that button and it says, okay, it's going to your head. Or if you want it to go to sort of your chest and from the window, you could do that. Or you could do your feet and it would show all three. And then obviously you can go back to having it fully automatic. On this side you see the parking assistant button. It's kind of hard to see in the sunlight here, but the light's on, so it'll tell me if I'm getting too close to a car in front of me or behind me. Then on the other side is a blind spot indicator. This is always really helpful. I think this should be a standard feature on all cars, so that when a car is coming up on your blind spot, little indicator will show up here as green as to if it's safe or not to go into the next lane. If it turns green, that means there's a car in your blind spot area. And there's one obviously on the other side. You can see the little icon over there. As I was testing out all the different buttons on here, which is something that I usually do, I found this little button here, which shows a little headrest flipping down, but I wasn't sure what it was. My youngest daughter was sitting in the middle seat, and I pushed that button and suddenly she screamed. And the reason why is, here, I'll turn it around here. You can see the headrest. If I push that button, all of a sudden, the headrest popped down. So you have better visibility out the back, and you can also get your seats ready to fold down. There are lit vanity mirrors, fairly good size, although my girls did complain it was a little small. I keep wishing for these manufacturers to make them just a little bit bigger so that you can see more than just an eye. It doesn't really affect me, but this might be something to consider in the future. This also has a moonroof, which has a shade as well, can be opened and fully rolled back. There are dual seat warmers as well, which is always a nice thing to have. And then you also have your buttons around here for all the different features: navigation, radio, media, telephone, my car, and internet. So this actually does have internet connectivity built in. It has its own connectivity, I believe. It doesn't pair into your cell phone. It does take a little bit of time to launch, but you can see there are a variety of apps that are already built in and hooked up. Makes things like local search kind of nice. You can search for names, as I'm about to show you guys, and then you can even tie it into the GPS. So one thing that this Volvo does have are some navigation apps that are connected to the cellular enabled apps that are built into the Volvo. So I'm going to try and find the local Volvo AutoNation dealership. So if I just click on local search using the OK button here, then it takes a few seconds to connect to the cellular network, and it'll come up with an app that lets you search for lots of different things. Like I said, it does take a few minutes. So you see now the search. You can click on that. And I recently did one searching to see if AutoNation is in there, and here are the results of the search. So I'm clicking on that and it's searching, And so it turns out there is one fairly close to me. So I'm actually going to load that up in the navigation and head on over there to check it out. The GPS display is really clean and clear, and it shows what your next turn is, and then when you come up to a turn, it goes automatically into a split screen mode. It's even kind of polite, so maybe I'll be able to capture that once we get closer to a turn.
Please keep right in 1/4 of a mile.
So there you could say it even said please, and now I'm in my split screen mode. We're coming up on the destination, and here it is right across the street. One more minor complaint is that there really isn't a place to put your cell phone other than the cup holders here. There is a little 12-volt plug-in over there. There is a little stash on the side here where you could potentially put your cell phone, but there isn't like any kind of a ledge or anything to put a cell phone, so I had to resort to a cell phone holder that was mounted to my dashboard. Then in the other box here, you do have a USB connector for your iPhone or other USB device that does hook into the audio. So my family's always loved Volvos, and I've test driven a bunch of different vehicles over the years, and every single time my wife is really happy to get one. She loves the feel of it, the looks of them. My kids say they're comfortable. We've always had a good time. So this 2015.5 Volvo V60 T6, and it's a wagon, is no different than any of these. The MSRP on this particular vehicle is $45,150. Price as tested came in at about $48,225, and that's with a few packages. I realized that I talked about the 18-inch wheels. Well, this has an extra package of 19-inch wheels with summer tires that adds another $750 to the MSRP. It's also got the blind spot indicator system, which is about $900, and this is a definite package I think that people should get. It also includes parking assist, so it'll give you that radar control or a notification when you're getting too close to a car in front of you and behind you, as well as cross traffic indicators. So if you're in a parking spot and you're backing out, and if there's a car coming along and you can't see it, you will be notified by the system. And this kind of makes up for the fact that it doesn't have a rear view camera, which will be a requirement in vehicles moving forward. The other package item that it has is heated front seats at an additional $500. So like I said, price as tested is about $48,000. Some other little things that I went into, it's got the 7-inch color LCD. This is not a touch LCD, so you do everything with the knobs in the dashboard area. It's got a 160 watt 8-speaker sound system, which sounds really good. It's got the moonroof, which is always nice, makes a car feel a little roomier on the inside. I love having it open and being able to see the sky. So overall, performance and safety, and with that added comfort in here, makes this this V60 wagon a lot of fun. And it's got that engine that'll just get up and go when you want it, and the turbo is really nice. So anyway, if you want to read more reviews, and these are not only car reviews but also technology tips and how-tos and a bunch of other things, you can head over to my website, and that's at www.HighTechDad.com. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them on Twitter, and I'm at HighTechDad. And be sure to head over to my Facebook page and give me a like, and that's at facebook.com/HTDblog.